Hi, so in today's video, I will be showing how to perform debugging in both local mode and remote mode in CAP application. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with initial creation of our project by using serious enough and project name. Now we had initialized our project. Now we will add basic configuration to our project. But before that, we need to go inside that directory and then we add our tiny sample to it. So now few sample code has been added successfully. Now we will add all the basic configuration which are required. HANA, XSUAA, connectivity, destination. Now we had added all the basic configuration required. Also we will add an event handler. Event handler as is also added successfully and data is also ready. Also since we are doing it in XSUAA, I will also add an app router to it. So now app router has been added successfully. Now we had created our base application and now we are ready to apply the debugger. But before applying debugger, we need to create XSUAA destination, connectivity, and HANA DB. So for that, we need to CF login first. The CF login has been done. Now it's time to create all the artifacts required. So I will start first with the HANA DB. So I had created the HANA instance using this. Now I will create our XSUAA service. Now for creating an XSUAA service, two things need to be kept in mind. We have to add access app name and tenant mode. So now that we have added successfully, we can continue our command -c access security.json. So it will take the configuration from access security.json. We will also add destination and connectivity. And now at last we add connectivity. CFCS connected to live. So now we had created all the four things. We need to bind it to our CAP application. So we will proceed that using CDS bind and bind all the four things that we have created. So I had added all the four things, which is DB, authentication, connectivity, and registration. Also, CDS bind command will auto create service key if not available. And now as we can see, CDSRC private JSON is ready with the four things that we had created: DB, auth, connectivity, and destination. Now our basic configuration is ready. For local debugging, I will show a different way. So for that, we need to click on the plus, click on the drop down near the plus sign, and then we click on JavaScript debug terminal and go into our project folder. So here, since we had done all the binding in our hybrid profile, we are simply going to perform CDS work profile hybrid. Okay, we got the following error since node modules were not installed. So I will install the node modules. Also, I will deploy the HANA artifacts as well. Build and deploy the HANA artifacts. Now we deploy, and then we run our CDS watch command, profile hybrid. So now debugger has been attached to the following port. Now to apply debugger, we simply need to add the breakpoint. I had added it in books over here. So as soon as we read it, we are able to trigger debugger. And to check the variables, we need to go to debug console and just write the parameters over here. So debugger is now working fully fine. So that's how we do local testing. Also, we can do it in 5000 port as well, which is the app router one. So for that, two things need to be done. Number one being we need to install node modules into our router folder, and then we perform this command. So this will open the app in 5000 port. So as we can see now there is an error regarding redirect URI. So for this, I will add I will use this command cds add MTA. This is so that I could get that OAuth2 configuration code, which I have to add it in my XSSecurity.json. So this we need to add in XSSecurity.json. Also here XS app name over here and in MTA environment should be the same. So we will copy this and paste it over here. And we will add our OAuth2 configuration over here. Now for redirect URIs, we will go to this link and fetch .application.cloud.sap from here. Or we can simply copy this and simply paste it over here. And then we copy application.cloud.sap and paste it over here. So now our redirect URI is ready. But to add these changes into our XSUAA instance, we need to perform one more command, which is cf update service, our auth name, cf update service, our auth name dash c XSSecurity.json. Now the updation is also complete. And once we try to open our 5000 port now, we will refresh the following debugger as well, just in case. Now there's no redirect URI related error. Also for testing out 5000, if I try to read the books, the debugger still works. So the same debugger can be used for port number 5000 as well as 4004. So this is how we do local debugging. Now it's time to do remote debugging. So for that, I will have to deploy the application. I will stop the local debugger. And to deploy the application, I will use this following command. npm update, just to keep node modules updated. And then I will perform cds up dash to cf. So this command does both the things together, which is mbt build and cf deploy. So our application is getting deployed. Until it gets deployed, I will add the remote debugging configuration which is required into our launch.json. So to add that configuration, we will click on add configuration. Choose this node.js attached to remote program. We will remove address, zip files, and in our remote root, we will add slash home slash vcap slash app. Request is attached, type is node. Name we can name it as tab debugging, and workspace folder, we will add our folder name. So now our configuration is ready. Now for applying remote debugging, we would need two things. One is applying the SSH, and then we perform serial debug to debug the application. So we need to check that whatever we are deploying has SSH enabled or not. Also, until then, I will create destination since I'm going to consume and show it in UI as well using Fiori elements. So for this, I will go into instances and subscription, check my auth, and from here we will fetch client ID and client secret and URL for our token service URL to create destination. So to create destination, we will click on create from scratch. We will name our destination as CAP debugging. Authentication, we will set it as OAuth to client credential. Description, optional, but I will set it as simply CAP debugging. Also, we will add the required additional property which is required for the application. First one is optional, but still I added just in case. In Web ID system, I choose the name. In HTML5 Dynamics destination, I set it as 2. So I had added all the basic additional properties. Now our application has also been deployed. So if we go to spaces and check, we can fetch our URL from there. So we go to trial, here spaces, and from here we fetch our URL and add it over here. URL is ready, and for client ID, client secret, we will fetch it from here. Also for token service URL, we are going to fetch this and add it here with /OAuth/token. And finally, we add our client secret. and we have added everything. Then we click on create to create our destination. Now destination creation is successful. Now we go back into our application. I will also create a sample UFO application to showcase the debugging. We will choose SAP Fiori generator, a simple list report page, data source connect to a system, and then we will choose CAP debugging, which we created. Service path, we will choose odata slash v4 slash catalog till here, and click on next. Main entity, we will keep book since we need to apply debugger on that. After function of books, table type, we will set other things as default and click on next. Project name, I will write simply debugging cap. App title, cap debug application. So you can write anything over both here. Copy the same into our description. And since I just want to show it locally, I'm not adding deployment configuration. I will simply proceed with default. So we had created our application successfully. And now we go back to our CAP application. And as I mentioned that we need to enable SSH for it. So we will proceed with that step. So first we will check whether SSH is enabled or not. So for that we will use this command cf SSH enabled, and then for the name we are going to pick the name from here. So now it's showing that SSH is disabled for app. So we will enable it using this command. Now SSH support enablement is working. So we will restart our application just to check if changes are taking place. So now we will check again if SSH is working. Yes, now SSH support is enabled, and now we debug it. So for debugging, we will use CDS debug and use this name. So this will open application in port 9229 and we will get the following message. Also, we can ignore this error. This won't affect anything. Also for applying debugger, we go back to our run and debug. So we are basically using the first configuration which I had created before. So I will run and debug it. And creating the UI application is totally optional. So now I had applied the debugger. So if you want to test it out without creating UI application, it is ready. So we will simply, we had already applied the breakpoint, so we can test it directly. Also, we had opened debugger. So we open this CAP debugging link. And now, as soon as we read our books entity, debugger has been triggered. Also, same thing, we can set books and request our parameters. It is working properly. So as we can see, we had applied our debugger on the remote system as well. Also, I had created this UEFI application, sorry, the Fiori Elements application. I will test it out using npm run sat. So now in this application, if I click on go, then books entity will be triggered since I had selected it as our default entity. So this will trigger the debugger as well. So that's how we perform remote debugging.